Right, I want to have some actual examples here to help you understand what we finished off with independence. Okay, at the end of the last video. Now I'm sorry, picture's not very good reading this. I'll read it to you. I think me writing it down will still help you to retain some of that information. So we're looking at independence, and at the end of the last video I told you that we use it in two main ways, and so we're going to look at those now. Okay. There's two ways that we tend to use it in an exam situation. Okay, one, when we're told that they're independent, then we use this formula, which you can see most of in the shot there. We can use this formula, which is that the intersection, the probability of the intersection is equal to the two probabilities of the events multiplied together. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to read you an example. You're supposed to be able to read it yourself, but I'm sorry, the video is not very good. It says the All Blacks winning the Rugby World Cup and the Lakers winning the NBA, I looked it up, are independent. Okay, so in the question, we have been told these two things are independent. And as soon as you read that, you go, somewhere in this question, I am going to have to use this formula. Okay, so that's something to keep at the back of your head. As soon as they say it's independent, pretty good hint, you're going to use this formula. You're going to use it the really simple way. We'll get into the complicated one in a second. Okay, so you're probably not going to get a question quite this easy in the exam, but it's important to understand this so that we can build and so forth. So let's have a look here. Now it says an advanced computer algorithm has calculated these probabilities. We're not going on historical data. You could go back and you could look it up. In fact, what we're doing is we're using data that I made up, and I'm attributing it. Now that's something that we should be aware of, no matter how good the formulas we use. If we're using rubbish probabilities, then our answer's going to be rubbish, like this one. Okay. So if we look here, we've got the probabilities that the All Blacks win. We're going to have a 40% chance of that happening, 0.4. Okay, the probability that the Lakers win, it's a lot of teams in that competition. Some of them getting pretty good, and they don't have Magic Johnson or whoever that guy who played for them was. 0.2 for them. Okay, very simple formula. We want to know what the probability is that both win. So if you're thinking about intersection, that's both events happening. Okay, the All Blacks win and the Lakers win. Okay, so with just this bit in here, all this formula says you just multiply the two probabilities. Now, you may have done that before at lower levels without worrying about independence, and more a focus of the exam is, are you thinking about, is that independence real or not? Okay. Now if we look at this, so I'm just going to multiply those two probabilities. It's going to be 0.4 times 0.2. I don't need to teach you how to use a calculator, and so you should get 0.08, and you should also be running in a room just like me. Okay, probability that either wins, just make it a bit interesting, I'll do that as well. Okay, so here I'm using the ideas of complementary probability, and so the complement of this is, of course, that they don't win. The probability that they don't win, which is 0.6. The probability that the Lakers win is that don't win is 0.8. Okay. Now either wins. Now the question is, does that include both winning? And I didn't actually think of that when I wrote that up on the board, which is why I went just now. Okay. Either wins. Well, if they both win, either wins. So I'm going to do this a completely different way to what I thought at the beginning of the video. What I'm going to do, I'm going to calculate the chance that it doesn't happen. Okay, and there's only one way that neither wins. Okay, because this is including the chance, really, if we think about it in an English sense, you know, yes, this one wins, this one wins, or both win. So only one way that they can't happen. So what we'll do, still independent, so we can still use the independence formula. So what we're going to do is we're going to work out the chance that neither wins, so 0.6 times 0.8, okay, so that's the complement of both of those, multiply them together, take that answer away from 1, because we want all the other chances, not that neither of them win, because that's not included here. Okay, and so we're going to have 1 minus 0.6 times 0.8. Okay, I multiply that together. Hello. We can multiply both of those together. 0.6 times 0.8, I get 0.48. I take that away from 1, I get 0.52. Fantastic. Okay, this is where the crunch comes in. Okay, here we've got an example. I talked about it earlier. And can you read that? Okay, it says if the probability that the All Blacks win is 0.4 and the probability that the Silver Ferns win is 0.45 and the intersection of those two, the All Blacks winning and the Silver Ferns winning, is 0.25. Are these two events independent? Is there no influence between them? Okay, where the All Blacks winning doesn't make the Silver Ferns winning any more or less likely. Now there's a lot of ways that we could test this. This is the most obvious one, the most commonly used one at any rate. So I'm going to use this formula now, and I'm going to see if they are equal. Because if they are equal, then there is independence, and there's no influence of the All Blacks winning, whether they win or lose, whether the Silver Ferns win or lose. Okay? Obviously, whichever way around the games go, this is which way we're thinking that the independence, the influence might go. Okay, so what I do, really simple. This is multiply those two probabilities, so I think I might multiply those two probabilities. And so, you can see me, good. PAB times PSF, All Blacks, Silver Ferns, that would give me 0.4 times 0.45. That's going to give me 0.18. Okay, yes, that is right. And so I now compare that. This is not equal to PAB intersection SF, which of course we said was 0.25. They are not independent. Now actually something a little bit interesting that they seem to be bringing into the exams now, wasn't in the past, but looking at the exemplars, this is something that could come up. Is it making it more or less likely? When the All Blacks win, is it more likely that the Silver Ferns will win, or vice versa? We don't know which way the influence is going right now. If we look at the time the games are, obviously the first one has to influence the second. Ask your physics teacher. Right, so when we multiply these, we would have expected the intersection to be 0.18. Yeah? But the intersection, the area of the intersection is bigger than what we would have expected. Therefore, one of the events is making the other event more likely. Okay, national spirit is boosted, and then they go and they play with their hearts out, and they win and they beat that other team. Yay, sports team. Okay, and we're all excited, and we go and buy more shares, and the economy booms, and blah, 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 blah. Right, so what have we learned? Okay, we use the same formula, whether we're told that it's independent or we're working out if it's independent. We just use that formula in a different way. We use it as a test to see if it's independent, or we just use it to tell us what to do if we know that it is independent. Okay, I hope that that's taken you forward a little bit, and feel free to watch the video again as many times as you like. Share it with all your friends or whatever. Go and do lots of exercises in your book, and I'm sure you'll do well.